GlobeTrotting is inching closer to 27,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe to support the channel. So, the A320neo and the 737 MAX, while very different aircraft, do share similarities, and are often pitted against each other. As the two aircraft are narrow-body planes, they're equally popular among customers, and play a significant role not just in the industry, but are the backbone of many airlines' fleets. So when it comes time to replace aging narrow-body aircraft, these two types aforementioned are often the two available options, at least if you're after a like-for-like replacement. And in most cases, airlines that commit to the MAX or Neo have at some point in their history flown the predecessors. It'll be the mission of the respective aircraft manufacturer that saw one of their older types fly with that airline to ensure that they can keep the relationship running and have the airline commit to their newer model. So, when Qantas launched Project Winton, a project intended to lay out the groundwork and eventually source a replacement for their aging narrow-body fleet, including notably the 737 alongside the 717, there was much discussion around which direction the company would head, and also how important of a contract it would be for the manufacturer that won it. At the time of recording, Qantas operates a fleet of in-service 74 737-800s, and as such, it is their largest currently active fleet type by some margin. Many believed the 737 MAX would be a great fit when the need for a replacement was outlined. However, there's much more to it to explore. Qantas launched Project Winton officially in 2021, towards the back end actually. However, the reality is that discussion over a replacement has taken place long before that point. Outlined in 2021 at least formally, the goal was to find a replacement for the 737s and 717s. The deadline was year's end. This gave Qantas a window of around 3 months to come to a decision and formally place an order. As such, requests for proposals were put forward, giving Qantas the opportunity to study the available options. Shortlisted replacements at the time included the A220 and A320neo from Airbus, the 737 MAX from Boeing, and lastly the E195-E2 from Embraer. All equally, in some manner, you could argue, would benefit the Qantas group. And fun fact about Project Winton, well, it was named after the birthplace of Qantas, but that's a story for another day. The flag carrier said that a renewal was part of a broader overhaul of the group, and would see deliveries stretch across a 10-year period. In 2021, they outlined the 2023 financial year as a point where they'd look to welcome the first delivery, which is essentially now. So really no time could be wasted as delivery slots continue to be claimed by other companies and the available time for deliveries became smaller and smaller, especially as Qantas wanted the types so soon after placing the original commitment. A handful of months later, December to be in fact, Qantas' decision was made, and they selected the Airbus A220 to replace their Boeing 717 fleet and the A320neo family to support the future of their domestic operations and subsequently replace the 737NGs. A commitment that meant they would switch to Airbus in favour of Boeing for these narrow-body planes. At the time, this was labelled a pretty big blow to Boeing, who would put their own 737 MAX up to Qantas as an available option, but they passed. And we know that Qantas is a very long-time customer with Boeing and are pretty close to them. That's why such a decision to switch to the European plane maker was labelled so big. Why the A320neo? Well, the appeal was with other members of the Qantas group as well. While Qantas was part of the main commitment, they really wanted to revolutionise other areas of their business too, including its low-cost arm Jetstar with A320neo jets. As such, they could use the new substantial order to go with previous commitments, and the advantage being, well, they could spread deliveries across multiple airlines, switch out variants, and just have a lot of flexibility that maybe they wouldn't have if they went elsewhere. No doubt as well, Qantas secured a hefty discount with such a deal. While never publicly disclosed, you should know that no order is ever actually completed at list price value. All the list price does is just provide us an indication of the underlying value. Substantial discounts are always handed down to customers. Some can be larger than others. Factors such as ongoing relationship, potentially the amount of units ordered, and a whole lot more can be key tipping points when two types are pitted against each other. Qantas has selected the A321XLR, which boasts a substantial range boost, and for their narrow-body fleet seems to be a solution to other options that will benefit them the most. It does mean that new city pairings are possible, especially with a focus in Southeast Asia, and these jets can be placed in maybe secondary cities within Australia rather than just Melbourne and Sydney. That is the fantastic benefit when it comes to international networks, say from Perth, Adelaide and or Brisbane. The acquisition of the A220 also gives Qantas massive amounts of flexibility for their Qantas Link brand, with regional operations now being transformed with more efficient and higher capacity operations. It's worth noting the A220s also come with a substantial range increase, so new city pairings are also possible. Fuel savings, as you would expect, will be considerable too, and while pitted against the E195 series, which personally I must say I do enjoy, it does seem like a logical choice to pair the A220 with that existing A320neo family commitment just for fleet continuity purposes. After this commitment, there were serious question marks over the MAX. It's something you're always going to expect. With the same discussion, people saying that the plane is a tired design and maybe Boeing should be putting more effort into creating a clean sheet that better epitomizes the future. Whether you agree or not, well, you can let me know down below in the comments, but with that being said, the overall reality from this deal going through was just how much flexibility and potential Airbus in this situation could provide Qantas with their planes that Boeing just couldn't with 4 base variants to the MAX family. Airbus has utilised the acquisition of the A220 back in 2019 since to its advantage, and while it deals with competition from Embraer, largely Boeing does not have something that can compare in customers' eyes well enough. So, if you say that existing airline has a strong relationship with Airbus and they're looking for a plane similar to that of the A220, well, then Airbus pretty much has that under wraps. The ever-expanding A320neo family, especially with the LR and XLR in the 321 part, is a commanding decision from the European plane maker as they address Boeing's lack of options in that space. Airbus releases these jets with the sole intention of filling more niches that customers are present in, as Boeing awaits the 2030s for their next clean sheet plane. It means Airbus has free rein, and it makes orders like these very intriguing to better understand. And at the end of the day, for an airline like Qantas, if they can achieve flexibility, potential, and have a great delivery slot and pricing, then they're most likely going to head the way where all of those things are. And in this situation, it was with Airbus. No doubt a shame for aviation enthusiasts that do enjoy the 737 MAX. Having flown on it myself, I must say the ride comfort factor is definitely there, and I've always enjoyed flying the type. That being said, we'll welcome the first Airbus A220 to Australian shores with Qantas later this year, and what it will do is kickstart deliveries for Project Winton. What are your thoughts? Do you believe Qantas made the right decision, or should have they selected the 737 MAX? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching and your support. Take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time.
And we'll fly.